Hello, welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London, which is currently freezing. It's so cold. It's been frozen over this night. Shouldn't complain. I am Norwegian, I should be used to this, but I still like to complain like a proper English person about the weather. And other than that, you can find me now actually as Skeindeer on Ravelry and Instagram. I have now changed it, so I probably need to change all the previous videos, put a little annotation that my name is no longer Fester or Ziltoidia on those places. It is now Skeindeer on both places. Could have called it Skeindeer Knits, but I figured Skeindeer. It's me. And speaking of which, look at what I just bought. It's a Skeindeer Christmas light, fairy lights, whatever you want to call it. I hope you can see it from over there because I'm not taking these down ever. They are glowing 24/7, even despite the possible fire hazard, because I just love these. They have a sort of wooden look even though they're plastic, and well, it's either a deer or a reindeer on my skeins. Skeindeer, as if you needed me to explain that. Other than that, thank you for coming back or for checking me out for the first time. As many other podcasters are pointing out, there's just an incredible number of knitting podcasts out there. It's just an ever-growing community, which is pretty awesome. So I am super duper grateful that you have chosen my podcast to watch, and hopefully I will make it worthwhile for you today as well. So yeah, thank you again. I will cover a lot of patterns today. I'm just going to talk about patterns that I am working on, that I want to work on, that I have made, and yeah, potential future cast-ons. We'll get to that. First of all, I just wish to thank Marit for sending me a pattern on Ravelry. So she purchased me this pattern, and I knew that actually in the last episode, and I wanted to thank her here, but I also want to keep the pattern a secret because it's for someone who's watching this. He knows who he is, and so I'm just gonna hold it back which pattern it is, but yeah, you will see it at some point. And the other person I wish to thank is Amelia of Woollenwords, who has been super helpful in giving me lots of useful advice for my podcast and also the other stuff that I kind of want to achieve publicly as a knitter, which I'm not quite sure yet. I just want to kind of spread the word about not just Norwegian knitting, but primarily that, because that's my thing, but traditional knitting in general, because there's been kind of like a thing in modern knitting, the modern knitting wave, that we just say, oh no, we don't have to knit the way our grandmas did. Look at all this cool modern stuff that you can do. And I'm like, yeah, but what's wrong with how my grandma knits, you know? That's kind of where I want to bring back a little and make that work in the modern world, and there are lots of awesome examples of that. And so while my speciality is Norwegian knitting, I would like to maybe let's give attention to other traditions as well. Like, I have a friend who does Portuguese knitting, which is like she's got a yarn around her head and everything. That looks really cool. And then there's, you know my love for Latin mittens. I'm gonna talk about that a lot in the future, probably when I have a go at them myself. And so yeah, just want to thank Amelia for clarifying, for helping me clarify for myself what I want to do, and also giving me the advice to just have a corresponding Brambleberry and Instagram name to this podcast. I was a bit unsure about that before because my Instagram is also a personal account, but let's be real, personal account means 90% knitting anyway. So first things first, I have a finished object. So as you may remember from last episode, I had cast on a Christmas hat, or as we call it in Norway, a nisselue, or in Sweden, tomtelue. Do they say lue in Sweden? I don't know. Anyway, so I have that now. It is done. Mössa, tomtemössa, is that what you say? Sure you do. And here we go. It is done, and I mean, I'm gonna write up a pattern for this, but I can literally tell you now what I did. So I've tried to maintain a gauge of 26 stitches, I think, per 10 centimeters for the hat, because my head is huge. You might want to go down a bit if you don't have a giant size head as I do. And then I cast on 144 stitches, did a 2x2 rib. I used a quarter size needle size smaller than the stocking net stitch, so I did a 2x2 rib for 10 centimeters, that's 4 inches, and after that I did 20 centimeters of stockinette, so right until the end of my head. So that's 30 centimeters altogether, and then I placed 4 stitch markers evenly, because then I can use my super cute kitten stitch markers, because I got 4 of them. Look at them. Oh, they're so cute. So yeah, 4 points of decrease, so I knit 2 together before every stitch marker, and I did this until I had 12 stitches. Why 12 stitches? Well, at that point it was just so few stitches, it didn't make any sense to just continue knitting. I might have done it early because it's quite a tiny little hat bum. I might do a tassel or a little pom-pom or something here. I don't know, like I've seen people do like things that looks like, it looks like a tassel but also looks like a little knot at first, like it's coming out of the hat. If you know how to do that, I'd be happy to know, because I have no idea. I don't usually make tassels. Anyway, I am just super excited about this hat. It's exactly what I wanted, and I wanted a hat like this pretty much every year before Christmas since I started knitting. Just me and my sister's been arguing, not arguing, but like fighting over the same nisselue for ages. So now I have my own, and it's super cool, and I fully intend to use this hat every day like any other hat and look like an idiot, and I don't care. I might be slightly self-conscious, but I am super happy about it. Okay, so yarn. I use Sun and Sisu. I've got 1 skein left, so I am actually able to show you still. And it's just a very lovely yarn. It is 175 meters per 50 grams. It's got 80% wool and 20% nylon. So if you want to make some slightly sturdier socks, this is your yarn. It's pretty good, and it's very soft. It's got a bit of a sort of a bounce to it, not like of Quince & Co proportions, but still, I got no complaints about this. Although there might be some oddities in it. Like I've had some places where the nylon is pretty much like a strand of plastic. It's just happened 0.01% of the time. It's really not an issue. I think it occurred twice in like 3 skeins. Yeah, I used 3 skeins for the whole thing. And also at one point it was so thick and a bit felted, but you can sort of pull out those pieces a bit, and it seemed quite normal. So it's not a huge issue, and it could happen to any yarn. And I've not really had that issue with previous Sisu projects. I've made 2 jumpers of it, so I should know by now. So yeah, I will endorse this yarn. It's pretty good. It's a Norwegian brand, but I don't think I can guarantee that this is actually Norwegian wool, which is something I will get back to. Slightly embarrassing, I've also finished my secret project. That's not the embarrassing bit. The embarrassing bit is that I wrapped it up before actually filming it. Even though I'd filmed it, I couldn't post it here now, but I was hoping to have posted it later on. But the only film I have of it is when it wasn't done. But I mean, it's not going very far, so I can film it again at a later point. I'm sure that will be doable. So yeah, 2 finished objects, that's not bad. Especially given that I have been marking non-stop, so I'm still super busy and feeling totally guilty for doing this instead of marking, because I still have, I believe, 34 essays to go, and they take ages because they got 2,000 words each, and they need lots of feedback. Doesn't take me long to figure out which mark they deserve. It's just all the feedback that they deserve that I've not had time to give them, and I'm hoping to finish that by today or tomorrow, because I have a friend visiting from Norway, and it would be lovely to have time to see her and her boyfriend, and just and she's bringing me a advent star that I can have in my window. So advent star is like a star-shaped lampshade that you put in your window, and you have it every day of Advent, and you have it throughout Christmas as well. I know actually people in the village side of Norway, they have it like all the way up to Easter, but it's a Christmas decoration. Looks really lovely, and people usually go really hardcore on them and put them in every window in their house, and I'm all for it. I'm even for it, keeping it up until Easter, because it's just lovely, especially when it's dark. Okay, I'm just gonna keep this hat on so that I look all cute and innocent when I confess that I may have bought more yarn again. I know I have problems, but hear me out. So, imagine me walking down, you know, in Old Street here in London, super busy after work, just like whisking through my phone. You shouldn't use your phone while you're walking in London, but I did. I got a little band around my head that's connected to my phone, so if anyone's tries to snatch my phone, which it's quite common in London, I'm afraid, they can't, or they're gonna have to take my hand as well. Anyway, so going through Instagram, seeing that Travelknitter, the yarn that I bought of her on Yarnporium, the Brambleberry colour of the BFL sock, she's put the rest of it up on her Etsy shop. And I already have one skein, so what's another 3? I can get the last 3 and I will have smaller quantities. So I'm just stopping in the middle of the crowd, just going, I don't remember what my account is on Etsy. I need to register to Etsy and I need to order these 3 skeins and I need to have them. And I did, and they arrived the next morning, Saturday morning. After leaving work on Friday, I had them here. So the lovely, what's her name from Travelknitter, oh god, I can't remember, but anyway, super lovely, just went to wherever she posted them and posted them ASAP before the van took off, and they were in my home the next morning. So I am going to show you now, so hopefully you understand my extreme excitement. But first, a sip of tea. Today's episode is sponsored by my inability to wear lipstick and drink tea at the same time. Now, so I already had one skein and I showed it earlier. I don't know if it was this skein, it was a skein. And it has the loveliest colour. I don't know if you can see because today's light is a bit yellow because I've had to pull down one of my blinds because my landlord's denying me my constitutional right to have Venetian blinds, you know, the kind that you can sort of flick and have the light direct in a different way. I'm not allowed. I'm gonna buy it anyway and I don't care. So if they want to take off my deposit that I want to be able to work while having sunlight, or at least daylight in my room, then so be it. Anyway, so I had this skein. I'm really rambling today, guys. So now I have 4 and they are just, oh god, my goodness. Get your shit together, really. 4 of this lovely colour. Oh god. Oh, it was so funny when I saw these at Yarnporium. It was right next to where Amelia of Woollenwords was standing, and I was like, oh god, look at that skein. It's my colour. She was like, yeah, I've seen your podcast. I know it's your colour. So I have it now, and this is enough for a sweater. I was thinking a jumper, but I've also been thinking of doing a cardigan. I'm trying to just justify buying more yarn without knitting up anything, evidently. I was actually told by the dyer of Travelknitter, who dyes from Walthamstow, which is not too far off from here, that I was the first one to buy this colorway. It was a new colorway, and given it's like my color and I was the first to buy it, it only makes sense that I'm also the last to buy it. So now we have the full litter of little purple pups. And yes, focus, there we are. I have been thinking of making a cardigan, and I've been thinking about doing the Alicia Beth cardigan because it's the most beautiful thing, and it's using the contiguous method, which is a method that I love. But some of you might remember, Ellie, don't you have a cardigan that looks quite a bit like that in the contiguous method? Why, yes I do. It is the Eleanor Cardigan by the Needle Lady, aka Pinigreedy, which is the cardigan I use the most. So it only stands to reason I'm gonna have another one. It's not the same, I'm not saying that anyone's copied the other or anything, it's just that it has these 4 fake cables going down here. Let me show you. That's what they have in common, and using the contiguous method. And the other reason why they're similar is just because I decided to crop this. It's not really a cropped cardigan, and it's not waist fitted or anything, it's just something that I came up with or was inspired by a different project, I can't remember. We're clearly not focusing today. Anyway, so I just decided, why don't I just get a dark purple version, not version, but like a dark purple cardigan with cables. There is one tiny little issue. Whilst I have these, I also have this by Travelknitter, and this is the London Skies colourway. And wouldn't this be the best colour work jumper ever? I mean, look at that. It's just, I have a really hard time tearing these apart into different projects. And yesterday I came, was it the day, I don't know, all the days are like now, it's just marking and marking and marking. Anyway, I came across this lovely project on Ravelry called Old Flowers. Picture here, link below. It's gorgeous, and I thought maybe, but I'm still leaning towards the Elizabeth cardigan just because I really love the continuous method. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's like you start knitting at the back and you kind of increase towards the shoulders and eventually in around, and you join in around after knitting back and forth, and it just has a lovely shoulder fit without actually having to sew in any sleeves or do anything like that. And I have issues with yokes sometimes. I love knitting yokes, it's the best thing ever, but they're not that suitable for a good fit. I mean, you can do it, but you have to be really skilled, and a lot of the pattern makers don't always care to do that. Kate Davies is really good at doing it actually. She's done a tremendous job of doing it on her owl jumper and on paper dolls. But I was a bit let down that she hadn't done that for the epistrophe cardigan, unless I ignored it. I hope I didn't. That would be stupid of me. So I just love the continuous method for that. It always becomes something that I am gravitating towards wearing. I have done 2 of the Buttercup. That's a very popular pattern on Ravelry that does something, if not continuous, it's highly similar, and it's just super annoying in the first few rows, but after that it's just super comfortable. And yeah, I could say lots of good things about that method, and I think people should try to incorporate that more into the patterns and try to make them that way, because it is truly a unique method of garment construction that I highly endorse. So if I choose to do the Elizabeth with this, maybe this will be some awesome Mercury socks. These are some socks that have been really popular in the knitting podcasting community lately, and they are really pretty. I don't usually make socks like that. I usually like socks that are more like colorwork slippers. That's kind of how I use them. But these socks, they speak to me. I think that's what I will do now. Elizabeth, Mercury socks. Might change my mind. I will also gladly hear your advice, but for now that's what I think I will do. Okay, I fitted them all back in. Can you see how many colors I have of that shade? Like, we got some woolly knits here, we got the Travelknitter coming out here, and we got Quince & Co and some Woolmiser. It's just, I clearly have a colour that I am gravitating more towards than others. And then there are some colours that there are less of, like yellows and greens and oranges. Like, we have some here, but I've actually rarely, if ever, knitted any of those colours. That's why they're there in my knitting. So that's something to aspire to in the future. Okay, I'm just going to take this off now, because hopefully you have forgiven me for my reckless yarn buying. And oh dear, I've also bought a ticket for the Pom Pom Christmas party in London. Shouldn't tell people on the internet where you're going. Anyway, I'm going there probably, maybe. And I know that it's sponsored by John Arbon, so there's most likely going to be John Arbon yarn there. And yeah, I really want John Arbon yarn. I always have. So I can't guarantee that this is the last yarn purchase we will see this year. And I'm most definitely going on a Trondheim yarn crawl when I go back there around New Year. So it's funny, like, I have never said I would go on a yarn buying ban until this autumn because of all the yarn I bought when I was in Norway, just because I wanted to stock up. And I've never bought so much yarn as I have since saying that. So that must have been some kind of trigger word for me that made me just binge. So I'm just never gonna say that I'm never gonna buy yarn again, because that's just making things even worse. So let's just quickly go through what I am currently knitting. So I showed you these earlier, my second pair of Sarbu mittens. So I've cast on the other, and where is it? Is it here? I feel like I have some needles here. Okay, here we are. So I started the second cuff, which I did during my knitting class. So I thought actually these classes wouldn't happen because it didn't seem that people have the time. Like, it's very unlikely that people can take 3 Sundays off in a row just before Christmas. I didn't consider that. It is not enough. So given the huge interest that's been reported on these classes, I am most likely going to host them over the new year. I will let you know when. I've been opening my episodes previously with this knitting class, and I just want to reassure you that that's not why I have this podcast. I'm not here for self-promotion, I'm just here to talk about knitting. I might do self-promotion in the future if I have something to promote, but as of now I don't. It just so happens that I have been asked to host classes, and so I did last weekend. I had one participant. First thing just I was like, oh, I hope I'm not the only one, because nobody else here. I'm like, you didn't know? Okay, you are the only one. So she got like red carpet treatment, and I showed her how to knit, and the only thing that's making me a tad bit nervous is that I don't know how to do colour work continentally, and I decided not to learn it because I'm teaching a Norwegian knitting class, so I'm going to teach you how to knit Norwegian way, and hopefully that's something people will get the hang of. I think so, and yeah, it went really well. I think my one participant got on with it really well, and I look forward to doing this more. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this now, so do keep an eye out for more classes in the new year. Tea break. Oh, I need to talk about this to you guys because it's the best tea ever. It is the Celestial Bengal Spice. It is my favourite tea. It doesn't taste anything like tea. It's just super spicy, not hot spicy, but like sweet spicy. There isn't anything like sugary or anything in that. Like, I used to drink this when I was on a fairly strict diet, and it's just got lots of lovely spices, mainly cinnamon, and it smells like Christmas, and I drink this all year round because I don't care. And yeah, highly recommended, not sponsored, just a lover of Celestial Bengal Spice. And you need a big mug for it, and just leave your bag in there because it's just gonna spread the lovely spiciness around. It's very strong, so if you don't want it to be like hugely flavored, then you need to take it out immediately almost if you want to use a small mug. I'm just using a giant mug. I need to just say I did not steal this from Starbucks. It is one of those mugs that Starbucks have that you can't buy. Like, people have stolen it from Starbucks, except me. I stole it from someone who stole it from Starbucks. There is a story here. So one of my previous flatmates, after returning from wherever she was in the summer, couldn't find this mug. She had two of these, and I just used it. Like, we used all the mugs in a flat, like that's not an issue. And she just left a post-it note in the kitchen like, where is my mug? If anyone of you have broken it, do let me know. And I was like, okay, if you want it that way. You've broken so many of my things and never apologized, never let me know, never replaced anything. I'm keeping this. Like, I just thought that accusational tone was just so rude. No. And I had other issues with her as well, like smoking in the doorway. Nah, it's mine. And it's perfect for this tea, so I'm not gonna apologize. Now, I'm really getting on with my mitten calendar. I have them all knitted. I can't remember if I did last time. I think so. So they still need thumbs. I had these done by last time, so they need thumbs, but all the ends have been weaved in. I pretty much spent the whole of the knit night at Loops the other week doing that, and got lots of lovely compliments for my mittens, which makes me very happy. And I have some that are finished. They have thumbs and they are blocked, and they're perfect. They seem to go by size, which is completely bizarre. I know the first four I did with a quarter size, a needle size smaller. And it's incredible what quarter needle size does. I'll show you. Like, that's a huge difference between size 2 and 2.25. Oh, they're so cute though. This is number 15, this is number 1. Oh, I'm gonna show you more. I mean, look at these. Look at them. They're so tiny. Oh, and they just became perfect after blocking them. And I got a really good tip from Juju, who teaches a lot of knitting at Loop, and she's also quite well known in like international knitting things. Like, she does lots of great patterns. She's done Juju's Loops. It's a book by Loop, which is really quite popular, and she gave me this lovely advice. It's really good advice that I should just buy foam board and cut out little blocking pieces for my mittens. I did. So I have these. They don't look particularly fabulous. I know nothing about cutting through foam board. I literally thought I could do it with a scissor, but the people in the shop, they assured me that I need a cutting knife for this. So I got 4 tiny ones and 4 regular sized ones so that I can block them all, and that's a way of ensuring that they will be roughly the same size according to which needle size they chose, of course. And they're so cute when I'm standing in my window frame with these little things thread over these things. Just, oh, they make me so happy, you guys. And I'm so happy that I am halfway done with the thumb and blocking business, and it should be a fairly quick ordeal to do the rest. I can make like 3 thumbs if I start really late in the evening even. So I'm fairly confident that I will finish at least in time for hanging them up. Maybe not in time for 1st of December, which is tomorrow by the time I'm recording this. Which is fine. I'll just start hanging them up and then finish as I go, and I'll let you know how it looks. And I'm just so excited. I got so many Christmas calendars now. I got those mittens, and I got my little vintage poster over here with little doors in it. It's a cool door. And my opal yarn calendar. Just, yeah, it makes me happy. And I got my truffle calendar, which I got from my boyfriend. Thank you so much, Olaf. So yes, let's just look at these one more time before we move on. Okay. So last night in the evening, I just lost the ability to do more marking. I was just having other concerns, and I felt like picking up this project that I haven't been working on for a while, and those are my crazy socks, which I call them because they're just mad in all the colors that they have. And I basically done everything up to the heel, only this morning realizing that I've not done a heel gusset. What? So I don't know if this is the time for me to have a go at the fish lips kiss heel, because I believe it doesn't need a heel gusset. Don't know how that works, but it might be a good idea. I know that my friend who's receiving these will need whatever's the equivalent of a heel gusset on her feet, so I hope I can sort something out, because I don't want to rip back everything I knitted yesterday. I have kind of sort of lost my mojo with these socks. Like, they're pretty cool and I'm very proud of having made them and designed them. There might be a pattern, you know, but at the same time it's super intricate. Like, there are just so many colors that I'm carrying through it because I don't want to weave in the ends. So if you hate weaving in the ends and you hate carrying lots of strands, then maybe this isn't for you, but otherwise, I mean, it's looking really good. Quite frankly, I prefer doing this like instead of the sort of self-patterning, self-striping yarns, because I am in full control of this. I'm deciding where the different colors go and making these look super cool. So yeah, hopefully I'll finish these in time for Christmas, because it's going to be a Christmas gift. Other than that, I have very few Christmas knits left. I have these pairs of socks, another pair of male socks, which I hope I'll finish in time because they're color work as well. So I'll have to speed that up, and I'm going to make Christmas balls. So let's get on with my knitting queue. So the first thing, I've decided to start knitting tomorrow, despite it not being a Christmas gift and not being as urgent as those Christmas gifts, is a Christmas mitten. So this is called Julebotten 2016, which is Christmas mitten 2016. And it's designed by Tori Seierstad, and it's a mystery cal, and I have never done a mystery cal ever, so I am very excited about how this will turn out. And I have a lot of faith in Tori's way of making mittens. I have made a couple of her designs before, and I'm just gonna throw myself into that. I have decided to go for the, I guess it's the medium side. It's called Lady Large Male Small, which I have fairly small hands, but I have another pair of mittens that have the same stitch count and gauge that fit me perfectly, so I'm just gonna go with that. And I'm going to do it in Ask Hifa. So Hifa Hillesvåg, that's the brand. Ask is the yarn, which is a sport weight pure wool yarn. I've done 2 pairs of mittens with this yarn previously, and I have about a third left of each skein, so I'm fairly confident that it will be enough. And if not, I got other whites and reds, and maybe I can do some really bizarre thumb, I don't know. But yeah, it's a very good yarn. It's like one of those Norwegian-ists of the Norwegian wools. It's like made and produced in Norway. Just highly recommend. Like, if you're going to Norway and gonna buy yarn, if you don't buy this, I don't know what you're doing. It's just I like it. So yeah, stay tuned for my mitten calendar. Does that mean I have 5 advent calendars now? Does this mitten cal count? Anyway, I'm just going to tell you how it works. So it's a Norwegian pattern, I'm afraid. So if you're not Norwegian or any sort of Scandinavian, you don't know how to read Norwegian, this might not be for you. Although assume it's gonna be chart based, like they're gonna release bits of the chart throughout before Christmas. I don't know how they're gonna divide it into 24 bits. I'm imagining it's not gonna be too much knitting every day. So maybe you will be able to follow it anyway. I don't know. I don't know what's coming. I'm just a participant in this. Yeah, just excited. So I'll let you know how it goes. And the other thing I plan on casting on soon, as I mentioned, is my Christmas balls, which I knit every Christmas, and I just love making them. It's become my little speciality, and I have altered the pattern a little bit throughout the years. I've decided to do my favourite left leaning and right leaning increase and decrease. I find that looks quite nice, although I'm thinking about changing it a little bit now because I have some ideas. I don't know if it's going to work, but I have some ideas of doing that differently. And excuse me, I also knit on a smaller gauge, needle size 3, which gives me a gauge of about 30 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I do that with a fairly thin cotton yarn. So they are recommending a sort of DK sport weight. I think it's more of a DK, to be honest. Pure wool. That never looked right for me, at least not on needle size 3. It's just super tight and not very nice. I've just opted for cotton. It's like a home decor, so drop saffron is fine, and also I like to use the Søstrene Grene Annan-Clares Bomullsgarn, which is a cotton yarn from a Danish shop very similar to Tiger I mentioned before. Yeah, just gonna make them in fingering weight cotton on needle size 3, gauge of 30 stitches per 10 centimeters, and we'll let you know how I get on with that as well, guys. Anyway, I am also planning on making a pair of male size Serbum socks. So you may have seen the blue Serbum socks that I made previously. I'd love to show you them. I'm wearing them because it's super cold in London today. It's just frozen over, as I told you, just freezing. But yeah, I'm gonna make a male version in the traditional black and white in drops fable, because that's what I have, and it's going for one of my best friends who I have known for 19-20 years. Hopefully he'll be happy about that, because God knows we all need warm socks on our feet. And as I mentioned before, I am super excited about casting on shawls when it's ego knit time again. After I've done all my Christmas presents, I'm gonna cast on the Duchess of Devonshire shawl in the Woollenvine Volke Outlander yarn that I have. It's over here. Can I find it? It is these. They are just lovely. So lovely. I've shown you before. So it's one of those things I'm super excited about. The other thing I want to do is this little purple yarn here. I want to do, there it is. I want to do the Spindrift shawl by, what's it called, Curious Handmade? Helen Stewart, is that it? Anyway, it will be corrected here if I'm wrong. The dyer of the Yarn Vault, which that yarn is from, she recommended I do that as well, and I was like already thinking of doing it, so if we both think that's a good idea, then that's what I'm going to do. And lastly, I really want to knit the Agatha cardigan by Andy Sutherland. I know Katie from inside of number 23 has said that there might be a Andy Sutherland knit along in the new year, and I am super excited about casting on that cardigan. I am leaning more and more towards knitting it in Quince & Co. Lark. It's going to be a bit of a treat because that yarn is not cheap by my standards. And the unfortunate thing is that I want to knit it in the Wine Sap colorway, and Loop currently only has 6 skeins of that, and I need more. I most likely need somewhere between 8 and 9. So I don't know what to do about that. They have said that they're not going to get more Quince & Co. Lark this time of the rest of the year. They might get some after New Year's, but for now, it doesn't seem very likely. So I don't know if I should just wait until my birthday at the end of January, hoping that my mom will feel generous and order it to me. It's unlikely. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to get that yarn in time for the knit along. Basically, that's my main concern. So yeah, that's a few near future cast-ons. I've done my knitting queue episode earlier, and this somehow overlaps with that, but there are also some new things, and I guess I have decided more what to do in terms of the order of them. But as you have seen, I tend to just cast on lots of other random things in between, because I just get these impulses, and I recommend going by those impulses, because those are the things that you really want to knit. So you're not going to let go of those projects, you're just going to persist and finish. So yeah, not going to apologize. And we are reaching the end. But another thing I thought I'd mention before we move on is that in the midst of my procrastination, I decided to do a little statistics overview of the yarn I've used this year, which brands I have used the most, and it's kind of shameful. The brand I've used the most is Drops Yarn, and I would recommend Drops Yarn. Like, it's perfectly fine for what you need it to be. It's cheap, can't vouch for the ethicalness of it, but it's just a yarn I've been comfortable using because it's a Norwegian brand that I am already used to. I didn't really have to like explore English yarns that much, which the cheaper varieties I'm not necessarily that excited about. So being able to get Drops yarns here has always been a big pleasure. And you have huge sales a couple of times a year, especially the May sale. So I just bought lots of those. I pretty much give into that sale every year, which is why I had a lot of yarn, and I've been knitting it up. So now there's actually not that much Drops yarn left, which is completely unintentional. So what I have now is a bit of baby merino over here, some Lima and Fable and Saffron at the bottom shelf, which is like the shelf that I'm most motivated to empty. I don't have issues about having this shelf here. I think it's fine. This one I'd like to knit up as well, just to make it worthwhile my money, but the bottom shelf that you can't see here, you can see a bit of it, I really would like to knit on. That would reduce my Drops storage markedly. And I should clarify the reason I don't want to knit that much Drops. It's just, one thing, it's just very boring to just work with the same brand all the time just because it's cheaper. I don't mind. It's given me a lot of joy. Like the Eleanor Cardigan I just showed you was made in Drops Baby Merino. It's a yarn I will happily recommend, but it's time to try other things. And I think in general I would like to get down the amount of Norwegian but not really Norwegian yarn proportion of the yarn that I use more. I want to either use different yarns that I haven't tried before, especially locally produced, at least British yarns, and also try out some more of the American brands because they're quite interesting and different. And when I use Norwegian yarn, I want it to be 100% Norwegian, and also like 100% Swedish or 100% Danish or something, because I think, you know, if we want to be a bit more responsible knitters than using locally produced stuff, like stuff that isn't sent around the world too much, and is also supporting the local industry, is something I think is very important. And it's nice to sort of maintain those traditions of spinning and milling and that kind of thing, and also just to avoid being like boring, and just lots of reasons. I wanna be more than someone who just knits Drops yarn. So I'm definitely using more of Rauma Finul. I have lots of that here, and they did come up fairly well on my little graph. So yeah, let's see how I do the next year. I know that I will be casting on at least 2 more Drops projects, but I also know that there are 2 Drops projects in this graph that actually more applies to last year, because it was just Steeking that I did this year. So I think this graph is fairly accurate at the end of the year as well. So that's all I have for this episode today. I hope you enjoyed it and that I didn't ramble on into too much weird territory. I probably forgotten to mention lots of things, but if you know what that is, do remind me, and if not, then I will see you next time. I have like 190 something subscribers now, so I think doing a 200 subscriber giveaway would be really nice. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to announce that next year and like set you guys off to do the things that you need to do to take part in the giveaway. So having just mentioned that, I think I covered everything, and I hope you will have a lovely week until next time. Happy knitting!